Well, a lot of voters used absentee ballots this year, setting a record here in Connecticut. Now, the Secretary of the State, Denise Merrill, wants to make that a permanent option for voters. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Mike Savino is live right now. He's in the capital city with more details on this and more on what has to happen for this to happen. Mike?
Well, Mark, it's simple to make it happen. All we have to do is change the state's constitution. But seriously, Merrill has been trying for years to give us different options on how we can cast our vote. And now that so many people have used these absentee ballots this year, she's confident that she finally has the support.
I think what's clear is that people want these options.
We're still counting the votes after Tuesday's election, but Secretary of the State Denise Merrill is already declaring a victory for voters. Merrill says more than 675,000 voters used absentee ballots, most of them citing COVID-19 as the reason. She hopes those voters will want this as an option in the future.
Now they've actually experienced it themselves, and they're like, wow.
Merrill plans to propose early voting and no-fault absentee ballots, but both would require changes to the state's constitution.
That's the wave of the future. We do everything online, and I could see that happening online at some point.
Some voters say those are great ideas, but others are reluctant to see changes to our voting process.
I do not support them at all unless you're infirmed or you're overseas, or you're doing something for your country that you can't get to your town.
Changes to the state's constitution need approval from the legislature, then from voters through a statewide referendum. The earliest that could happen is 2022. But political science professor Jonathan Wharton says Connecticut also needs to work on existing problems, especially with Election Day registration. He also says the state should proceed carefully with new voting methods.
We need to see the pitfalls and problems and predict them.
Voters rejected a similar proposal in 2014, but Merrill thinks voters will change their minds now that they've seen it for themselves.
Now I think the tide has changed.
Merrill isn't the only one trying to change how we elect our elected officials. Coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, I'll tell you why some people want to change how we choose our president. Live from Hartford, Mike Savino, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.